When I was growing up in the church in the 90s, fathers didn't attend church nearly as much as mothers. And so there was always this big push in the church to get men to attend church. And they would always talk about the statistic on how if men do attend church, fathers specifically, their kids are more likely to attend church as adults. And so that was always part of what they were doing. A number of men in the church were part of the Promise Keepers movement, and this was part of that effort to re-engage men. But for most men, this was still too feminine for them, too much love talk. They were uncomfortable seeing so many men crying and pouring their hearts out to God. Now, there were some toxic things within Promise Keepers, of course, but it was nothing close to what was coming. Now, this wasn't the case actually in my church, but the way men eventually came back into the church was essentially through politics. The more aggressively political they got, the more men came in. And then you started seeing the redefining of Jesus, the person who men were supposed to be like. They turned him into some kind of dominant UFC warrior figure. These men that were then attracted to the church eventually took over the church. And that's why the American evangelical church has been at civil war ever since, topping it off with arguments over attending church in person and wearing masks. I will never even set foot inside of a church that still has any of this element. But I want to hear from you out there if you've had similar experiences, if you grew up in the church like I did. Did you see this transition as well?